The thirsty crow. Once upon a time, in a land where the summer sun blazed relentlessly, there lived a crow. The crow was a clever and resourceful bird, known among the animals for his sharp mind and quick thinking. He often flew long distances in search of food and water, and although his journeys were sometimes challenging, he never gave up easily. One particularly scorching day, the sun was high in the sky, and the heat was unbearable. The earth was dry and cracked, and the rivers and streams that once flowed freely had now reduced to mere trickles. The trees offered little shade, and the air was thick with dust. The crow, feeling the intense heat, was desperately thirsty. He had flown for hours, his wings heavy and tired, searching for water. But no matter how far he traveled, he couldn't find a single drop to drink. The fields were barren, the wells were dry, and the ponds had evaporated under the relentless sun. As he flew over a desolate landscape, the crow's throat grew parched, and his energy began to wane. He knew that if he didn't find water soon, he would not survive much longer. The thought of giving up crossed his mind, but he quickly pushed it aside. He was determined to find a way, no matter how difficult it might be. Just as the crow was about to lose hope, he spotted something in the distance. There, in the middle of a dry field, stood an old clay pot. The pot was partially buried in the ground, but from his vantage point in the sky, the crow could see that it contained a small amount of water at the bottom. Filled with renewed energy, the crow swooped down toward the pot. As he landed next to it, he peered inside and saw that, indeed, there was water at the bottom. However, his heart sank when he realized that the water was too far down for him to reach with his beak. The crow tried tipping the pot over, but it was too heavy. He then attempted to stretch his neck as far as he could, but the water was still out of reach. Frustrated but undeterred, the crow knew he needed to come up with a clever plan. He sat on the edge of the pot, deep in thought. His keen eyes scanned the area, looking for anything that might help him. As he pondered, an idea began to form in his mind. He noticed that the ground around the pot was littered with small pebbles. The thirsty crow. The crow remembered something he had learned from watching other animals and from his own past experiences. If he could raise the water level in the pot, he would be able to reach it. And the way to do that, he realized, was by dropping pebbles into the pot. Without wasting any time, the crow hopped over to the nearest pebble and picked it up with his beak. He then flew back to the pot and dropped the pebble inside. The pebble made a small splash as it hit the water and sank to the bottom. The water level rose ever so slightly, but it was still not enough. Undeterred, the crow continued his work. He flew back and forth, picking up pebble after pebble and dropping them into the pot. With each pebble he added, the water level inched higher. The task was not easy, and it required patience and determination, but the crow was resolute. He knew that if he persisted, he would eventually succeed. As the sun began to sink lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the field, the crow's efforts started to pay off. The water level in the pot had risen significantly, and now it was just within reach. The crow, his heart filled with hope, picked up one last pebble and dropped it into the pot. With that final pebble, the water level rose high enough for the crow to reach it with his beak. Overjoyed, the crow dipped his beak into the cool, refreshing water and drank deeply. The water quenched his thirst and revived his tired body, filling him with a sense of triumph and satisfaction. After he had his fill, the crow perched on the edge of the pot and looked out over the field. The day had been long and difficult, but he had succeeded because he had not given up. He had used his cleverness and determination to overcome the challenge, and now he was rewarded with the water he so desperately needed. As the crow prepared to fly back to his nest, he reflected on the lesson he had learned, that no matter how difficult a problem might seem, there is always a solution if one is willing to think creatively and persist. The crow knew that he would carry this lesson with him for the rest of his life, and he hoped that others might learn from his experience as well. The thirsty crow. With a final glance at the pot, the crow spread his wings and took to the sky, feeling stronger and more confident than ever before. He soared above the land, his heart light and his spirit free, knowing that he had overcome the odds and achieved his goal. And so the story of the thirsty crow and his clever solution spread far and wide, becoming a tale that was told and retold by animals and humans alike. It became a story of perseverance, resourcefulness, and the importance of never giving up, no matter how challenging the situation might be.